Hello from Fort Lauderdale. My name is Paul Michael. I'm 50 years old and I'm a swimwear designer. And this is my brand, Get Wet. It's a line of swimwear. Currently it's designed for men ages 20 to 60. Yes, in Fort Lauderdale, 60. We are very active down here and we age very well down here. Thank God for that. Anyway, it's for, I'm going to be expanding this line to a women's line as well. I'm looking at tankinis and boy shorts and one pieces for women. I'm very excited about this project. I'm also a leather crafter, and I work with a lot of leather and make a line of leather accessories branded Paul Michael Leather, like these suspenders that you see here. I make them in several colors and several different styles. I tan the leather or I oil the leather, and they come from just a raw hide. And this is one of my first pieces. This is one of my current pieces. Yes, it's a beautiful shade of brown. I get these colors from airbrushing the stain, and then I treat them with oils so that I get the moisture and the color back to them. I also make a line of leather cuffs. There are also wallets, very handy, especially if you're traveling or going to a bar where you don't want to be ripped off. Nice thing to have, hidden money. And all this leather work actually started because here in Fort Lauderdale, especially in my neighborhood, which is Wilton Manors, it's the gayest neighborhood ever. And our holiday is Halloween. Well, all the boys come here for Halloween costumes, and when you get superheroes, you had to be kind of creative and think outside the box because Marvel puts out some amazing stuff, as does DC. Okay, let's not brand anybody, but you get the point. Anyway, so working with leather, I was able to mold it to get different shapes. So things like masks, chest plates, big cuffs, fins for Aquaman, you name it, I was able to make it by molding the leather and then airbrushing it to get whatever color or effect that I needed out of it. I'm a master tailor and my alterations business name is So What. I have 2 studios now. I've been in this studio for 9 years now. Come this month, this is August, so yes, it's been 9 years. And in March of this year, I opened my second studio in the same building called So What for Women. And we're sewing a small production line for my swimwear. It's going to be done also at this facility. I figured it made more sense. I looked at getting factories here in South Florida because there are several that will do small production, but it made more sense for me to start my own factory than it did for me to outsource it to other people. I'm not from Florida originally. I'm actually from Pennsylvania. I was raised in a Christian rehabilitation program called Teen Challenge of Western Pennsylvania. We lived on a Nike missile base on top of a mountain, and my father was the executive director and an ordained minister, and my mother ran the food and beverage operation, which would feed 30 to 40 people every day, all 3 meals. You know, we had pigs. It was a farm, so we had pigs, chickens, horses, and a small vegetable garden, tractors, all this stuff. This is the first thing I learned to drive was a tractor, you know. Surprise, but yes. And a lot of our clothes, not all of our clothes came from stores. In fact, most of it was either donated or my mother would sew it. It was the 70s and we would have polyester vests, you know, I don't know what we were thinking in the 70s. But anyway, so we'd have these polyester vests that she would make us for photographs or for church or whatnot, you know. And my father would travel up and down the East Coast with a musical group, much like the Partridge Family, only, you know, Christian and it was amazing. We lived, you know, had a bus and travel up and down, and anyway, they raised money because we couldn't get financial assistance for the state because it was a Christian operation. But I'm gay. So when I was old enough and I started going to college, I wanted to go to Pittsburgh, so I went to the city of Pittsburgh to go to college because I was gay and I couldn't be gay at home. I couldn't be gay in a small town. I had to go somewhere where there were other gays, you know. And while I was in Pittsburgh, I met some of the students from FIT and from Parsons. And, I learned about New York. New York being the center of everything fashion, really. At that point in my life, I had no concept that I would be able to get there. But now I've been there. My partner, Constantine, he's the one who brought me there. He's from New York. And from Southampton, too, so we got to see that as well. Anyway, in Pittsburgh, so we were going to the clubs all the time. There were several clubs I used to love to go to. And so you always needed outfits to wear to go. And so I bought my first sewing machine, which was a Cavalier. It was robin egg blue and white, and it only went forward and backward. It was a straight stitch. But it was, I was able to crop a leather jacket and get that look I wanted. The lining looked like shit, but the jacket looked great on the outside, and that's all I cared about. As long as I looked good at the club. Later in life, I moved to Florida, and I had a roommate who was a dressmaker, and she taught me the principles of swimwear construction. At the time, I was a sous chef in a German restaurant, and she was waiting tables there, and so she found this phenomenal apartment across the street in Volano Beach, across the street from the ocean. Beautiful apartment, and we became roommates and had the sewing studio in the back section of the apartment, and she taught me a lot, and I taught her how to cook. So I would get up every morning and I would make a swimsuit, and then I'd go to the beach. Those were my days off. I mean, I had to work, but it was quite the life, and I had some ugly suits, but it was good practice, and I had fun doing it. I never really at that point saw it as a business. It wasn't until I was working for a small catering company in Hollywood, Florida, that when I discovered I was HIV positive, I saw an end to my culinary career. I was freaking out every time I got cut, and employees were running at me, "Oh, let me, you poor thing, let me wrap you up," and I'm like, "Oh no, get away! I'm contaminated." It was awful, and so I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know how I was going to make my living if I got sick, and obviously I couldn't work in a kitchen if you're sick. So I started buying industrial sewing machines. That was my answer. And so this Saruba 747 you see behind me with the beautiful elastic meter, this was one of my first industrial sewing machines. I had sewing machines, but this was my first industrial. And I began making swimwear, or trying to learn to do various things. I wasn't successful the first several times. I mean several. I went years. I stayed in culinary, and culinary actually transcended then into front of the house management, and being a general manager of another restaurant. That's how that progressed. And the last time I was GM of a restaurant, and I was going to school at ITT Tech for computer networking because I wanted out of the food and beverage industry, and I had to close the restaurant. It wasn't making money. So I told the owner, and he did, and I didn't know what to do. And my friend goes to me, "We have a whole room full of sewing machines. It's time to get to work." So I started putting ads on Craigslist, and then I got involved with a local retailer who needed swimwear production done, and so that's what I did, and it worked. Finally, it worked. After I was doing that for a little while, I said, you know what, let's take it a step further. And I went back to school. So I got my degree at the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale in fashion design. I graduated summa cum laude, thank you very much. My business has now moved to its current location. I've been here 9 years. I'm very happy. I've done really well. Am I rich? No. I own every piece of sewing equipment you can fucking think of, and I'm happy, and now I got employees. Oh, I'm even happier. I don't have to do everything myself. Lovely that. I can't argue. So now you want to know why I want to be on Project Runway? I can build anything. Anything. I'm not afraid of women's wear anymore. I was for a long time. I was scared to death of Project Runway, and I'm a huge fan. I've seen every episode. Couple times. I have all my favorites. Dimitri, love your work. Mondo, your prints You inspire me. Every time I see that episode with you talking about that print, I cry. I can't help it. Cry. Love it. You know, there's so many people that the last one, Takara, Takara, I love his stuff. It is awesome. But Brandon this season is the one who inspired me the most because he's the one who's got me here now. Because I saw that he was able to translate what he does into women's wear on the line, and I said, that's it. I can go now. I know what to do. I don't know what to do, but I'll figure it out. Because all I have to do is take what I do and translate it to that. So let me show you some of the stuff I do because I still have 5 more minutes on my timer here. So we go to parties down here, and I have one. Chris Lopez is a graphic designer down here. He also does a line of swimwear. The swimwear are okay, but the prints on them are phenomenal. His graphics are amazing. I really love what he's done. So he throws this awesome party, and so Ultra Glam was the theme, right? So you're combining macho and disco and everything crazy, because only we can do that. So I made this lovely little fur leather vest that when, of course, I didn't wear a shirt underneath it, that would have ruined the whole look. You know, beautiful, huh? Fun. They have pockets in here too. In the front, you can never have too many pockets. Pockets are a very useful thing. You could see pockets in my swimwear line as well. You know, my leather actually affected my swimwear and improved that quite a bit because hardware became such a prevalent thing in my thoughts. So, you know, I was able to find the right eyelets, complete with the backs, you know, and then the aglets that went into this, you know, and then, you know, now I have the beautiful logos I get made. They're rubber. It's really taken them up a notch. They have pockets. All of them have pockets. This is a little mini pocket in it. This is a slightly shorter short. All mine are, by the way, sized up to 4XL. I am not afraid of a big man or a big woman. So that you can put a credit card key. I figure if you're on a cruise ship, you usually just have a room key. That's about all you carry with you. You know what I mean? Maybe a few bucks to tip the bartender. Here's a better picture. You can see the pockets because of the top stitching. But see, and I piped that. Lovely. This one was inspired by the Colombian soccer team. I had a client ask me to do this. Sharp, huh? I like it. I like this length too. See, this will be able to cross over to the straight market, which is my next move. They can get used to wearing something a little tighter than their baggies. You know, this one I did in a floral. This is hibiscus is my favorite floral. I like it in 2 tones. This is one of my favorite kilts. This one I did with a really dark denim. I followed the traditional methods of kilt making to a degree. I read a lot about it because I like kilts. Easily translatable to women's wear, obviously. It's a dress. But anyway, it's really well made. I got stopped by some boys from Scotland when we were at Gay Pride. I was wearing this at Gay Pride as well as that party for Ultra Glam. This kilt is done in leather because we do have a large fetish community, and yes, I work with fetish. I'm not going to pretend that I don't, you know, because it'd be a lie, number one. And I'm good at it, number two. I make a lot of harnesses. I paid for making a lot of harnesses. It's, you know, it is what it is. So this was when I was in school now. So you know, this is student work. If it looks like student work, because it is. Okay, so I mean, like, this was the shirt I made for the menswear class, and instead of making a vest, I wanted to pattern a harness. I worked with a lot of upholstery fabric during school because the boys next door are interior decorators, and they gave me a lot of upholstery fabric to work with. So this was a pair of the dress pants that went with that outfit. Yes, they went together. It was busy, but it was very. I have a thing for 1960s. I like the built-in waistband. It's on the interior. In the 1960s fashion, I'm very fond of it. I thought it was very, very forward for the time. Here was the jacket. I was also thinking like that Abbey Road. I like upholstery fabric. I don't mind working on it. I was just recently asked to do a. Oh, I gotta go. I was recently asked to do another fashion show, and they're going to be giving me interior decorator fabric to work with. Match the plaids, baby, match the plaids. I designed these pants too. Only thing I wish I'd done was put a black waistband in instead of that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm running a little bit over, so if I'm a little abrupt, now you know why. Have a great day. Please choose me. I really want to go. I really want to go. Thanks. Bye.